And now, Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio.
When I pop the trunk, head to death. Y'all pop the trunk, I pop the hood.
Now act stupid, I'll pop the trunk. Now give me your boom, boom, boom.
He is Jalen Rose.
What up, dope?
I'm David Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in, center stage on the mic.
And we putting it on wax.
We're Jalen and Jacoby. What do we do?
Get a fine individual that have supported this program for 6 years exactly what they want, whether it's podcast, radio, television at 2 a.m. or 2 p.m.
We touched on this briefly during the television show, but I want to expand upon it a little bit more. Now we have a report from our own Diana Rossini that John Harbaugh wants Kaepernick on the Ravens. Okay, that makes sense. He's the coach. He doesn't make all the personnel decisions. The general manager, Ozzie Newsome, wants Colin Kaepernick on the Ravens. Oh, okay, so they should just go ahead and sign him. But the owner, Steve Bisciotti, is not convinced and is holding back the signing of Colin Kaepernick. What is really happening? What is at play here?
He being blackballed. And for those who don't think that's a fact, I want you to take the opportunity to look at the 3 quarterbacks that are on their roster currently while Joe Flacco is out. And look what they've accomplished in the league. He's clearly a better performer than all of those guys put together. And for that matter, why don't you go through a lot of other rosters where you can say the exact same thing, especially when you start talking about third string, fourth string, training camp opportunities.
Mark Sanchez comes to mind.
No question about it. So I was actually disappointed and felt like it was really unprofessional for the owner to come out and basically take the temperature of the public as opposed to making a quality decision for the football team and then had the nerve to say, pray for us. I just thought that was underhanded, and it really shows the undertone that is taking place behind Colin Kaepernick and his kneeling while the national anthem was being played last year.
I am starting to get the sense, I have a feeling that public pressure will not keep Colin Kaepernick off a roster. I think that now this news gets out that for football reasons, the general manager and the head coach want him on the team, that Colin Kaepernick will end up on the Ravens. So what happens then is Ravens jerseys become a lot more popular. Colin Kaepernick's got one of the highest selling jerseys in the entire league, and he is not even on a roster. And personally, I'm only speaking for myself here, I am rooting for Colin Kaepernick to succeed on the field.
Here's what I think has gotten diluted. He's socially and politically conscious and had an opinion, and he kneeled in order to make a statement. He's not a criminal.
It was extremely nonviolent. It wasn't even a big deal. I think the media made it a bigger deal than Colin Kaepernick did, to be honest with you.
It was a passive protest. That's actually what that's called. It wasn't volatile in any way, shape, or form. And the other thing is he wasn't the only one. And so this is what I want to point out. There were multiple players
Good point.
and or teams that directly or indirectly supported what he did. A lot of them did it a little more political.
Sure.
For
did it
whatever
only
it's
for
worth.
a few games early in the season.
No doubt about it. And so this shows when you're the spearhead of a movement, how the masses make sure that they send a message to you so people that are looking at you will be hesitant to do what you did. And it's really unfortunate.
Exactly. He is not the only person wearing the NFL shield on his uniform that took a knee during the national anthem, yet he's the only person that we're still talking about not being on a roster for taking a knee during the national anthem. I just know that I am rooting for his success on the field. I don't believe that he is going to be a Pro Bowl level quarterback that takes another team to the Super Bowl. I just think that his skills aren't at that level. However, I think that he is a very, very, very capable backup or starting quarterback on an NFL team. And when he takes the field, I want him to win now.
And when he gets to Baltimore, because he's going to be on that roster.
He's going to end up on that roster.
You know what else is going to happen? His social activism is really needed in that community, because that's one of the scenarios that was highlighted over the last couple of years. And so to now have his voice in that community is actually going to be welcomed, not only based on who he's going to be able to influence, it just so happened that he's an NFL player, not the other way around.
And the one thing that Kaepernick said is he's been attributed to saying that he will no longer kneel, but he's never said it himself. But I do not think that he is going to kneel anymore in the NFL. Like, if that word is out there, then I think that he will not do it.
Here's what I want people to understand. Because I have a social or political stand, that don't mean I have to walk down the street 24 hours a day, 365 days of the year screaming it to the top of my lungs.
Yeah, exactly.
With a megaphone.
Exactly.
That doesn't mean that I'm selling out for the cause. It just means that I did my stand. I did my kneel. I brought attention to something that actually needed it. And I appreciate the fact that he hasn't changed. I got to really expose something.
What's that?
There are a lot of public figures, athletes, and entertainers. They show up and act like they're doing it for the community, but a lot of times what you don't realize, they're there because they're being paid.
And they're also there because there's cameras there if they're not being paid.
Correct. The hardest thing I've learned being a philanthropist is to try to get people to dedicate their time and energy and their money to something that does not benefit them. And I'm not just talking about financially. I'm talking about, as you mentioned, for the cameras. And so when you see me doing my thing with the Jalen Rose Leadership Academy, that's why I appreciate all of the people that ever have lifted a finger to try to help me influence students, because I've learned that that's the hardest thing to do. And it kind of frustrates me when I see so many people talking about what he did or what he didn't do in their opinion, but he's still giving back to others. My question, when you hear somebody else have a problem with how he's approaching it, ask them, what are you doing to make the world a better place?
Absolutely. I love it going a little bit deeper on these sort of don't get fired topics, giving exclusive content to our podcast listeners. We will never stop doing that. We also have some topics that we can cover here in the podcast space that won't exactly be perfect for afternoon television on ESPN, like this. Andre 3000 is being reported by Pitchfork. Andre 3000 considers rap a hobby and probably won't make another Outkast album.
What?
Does this upset you as much as it upsets me?
What?
I'm about to cry.
I know. I've never seen you so affected by this. I think Outkast was the winner of our hip-hop group bracket challenge that we did once upon a time, one of the greatest projects we ever did in the history of this program that I barely remember because it was 7 years ago.
All I remember was when Outkast came out with their first single.
It's that Southern playalistic Cadillac funky music. I bought the cassette single to that. The Diamond D remix on the other side of the cassette single of that song is so good.
Man, I'm like, we got to get the Freaknik, dog.
I played that cassette single so many times in my Chevy Celebrity hand-down from my mom that I couldn't even see the tape anymore. All the writing was completely rubbed off of it.
I had the Dodge Shadow you saw in the Fab 5 doc with the Crown air freshener in the back. And all of a sudden, I go to a dice game, and before you know it, got the down payment to a limited edition Honda Accord, baby! I remember going to the house with the bankroll like 5 in the morning, waking my mom up like, got a bankroll, you don't have to go to work today. Here, take this $500. She looked at me like, what? Can't retire off of that. 1, 2, where you get that money from? You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, oh, you know, what had happened was, well, she knew I like to play craps anyway. But the other thing is, I need you to take me to the car dealership. Because part of my bet, and I'm not going to expose who, what, when, and where, and why it took place like this, rest in peace, I needed to be there first thing in the morning because you know how it is when you make a street bet. It's like,
this need to get the payment immediately. You gotta get the payment as soon as possible.
No doubt. So, Ma, I need you to take me to the car dealership. 1, because I need you to co-sign the car. 2, so I can actually get the vehicle. Before you know it, up in Ann Arbor with the whip, ghost riding, me, Ray, and Jimmy. Before you know it, next day, timing was amazing. 8 hours to the A-Town.
Next, we have this from Complex. They have reports that a Conor McGregor sparring session had to be stopped because it got out of control, and a referee was brought in to explain the rules of boxing to Conor McGregor. Now, I have no idea if this actually happened, but I'm a little surprised that Conor McGregor needs the boxing rules explained to him.
There are about 10 people currently working on this show, at least.
Uh-huh.
Conor McGregor has as many professional fights as all of us. This is what people keep missing. I keep trying to tell everybody this. Floyd might as well do this fight, and I want him to mass produce the Harriet Tubman 20s with all the money. Okay? Floyd is about to make like $200, $300 million and not get touched.
But couldn't you see a world in which Conor McGregor he gets frustrated by not being able to hit Floyd because no one can hit Floyd, boxers or non-boxers, and then he starts to fall back into some of these instincts, like kind of in like a Mike Tyson way, starts grabbing or starts pushing or starts mushing, and just kind of like starts to muck up the fight the way an NBA playoff series gets mucked up sometimes, and then it ends in a disqualification. Can't you see that happening?
I cannot see that happening because guess what happens when you do that? Conor McGregor then messes up his money. You got to read the fine print of the contract. And this is what happens to athletes, and I'm going to relate it to everybody that's watching or listening to this program. How many times you've downloaded something on your phone, and it scrolls and scrolls a fine print, you just click down, accept.
No one's ever read everything. No one's ever read any of that, ever. Like you could put in the fine print of anything, like, oh, and you owe me your firstborn son and the twins and this and that. It's just like, I would just accept it, whatever. Like, can I please get this app? I want to order some pizza.
No doubt about it. And that's what Conor did with his contract. And so you start doing that if you want. All of a sudden, all of this means nothing because you're messing with your bread.
That's a really good point. We have a couple voicemails. We always give the people what they want here in the podcast, so let's listen to a voicemail.
Hey, Jalen. Hey, Jacoby. This is Megan calling from St. Louis. Really enjoyed the podcast. I listen every day. Really hoping you guys play my voicemail because my birthday is August 3rd, and I just feel like in order for my celebrating to be complete, I need a birthday shout-out from you guys, Reggie included. So give the birthday girl what she wants. Moving on to my question, I'm a big Celtics fan. I'm really excited for next season, excited about Tatum, excited about Hayward. But, you know, I'm concerned because we lost Avery Bradley. And I'm just wondering what you guys think needs to happen on the team so, you know, we can make up for that loss with Avery, especially in terms of his defensive presence. Thanks, guys, and hope to hear myself on the air soon.
Shout to you. Shout to St. Louis.
Shout out. The Lou.
And happy birthday
to you.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
You do a pretty good Stevie. You do a pretty good Stevie. So here's the thing. To answer your question directly, I really think that there's a two-word answer to your question. Those two words are Marcus Smart. That's what needs to happen. Marcus Smart is also a good defender in the backcourt. But, however, Marcus Smart is a little more challenged offensively than Avery Bradley, especially the way that Avery Bradley has been playing offense in the past couple of years. If Marcus Smart can develop a better percentage from three-point, if he's not going to be asked to run the offense, he's not going to be asked to drive the lane and create buckets for himself, but if he can just hit open shots that he gets because the defense gets sucked into Hayward, I think that would be big for them replacing Bradley.
So let me get this right. You're going to talk about their third best guard as the answer?
Yes, I am. Because I'm listening to the question very carefully, and I respect our listeners, and I answer the question directly.
You know how I feel about Avery Bradley, and I'm so happy he's a member of our Detroit Pistons. Gordon Hayward is a better all-around player. And because he can create offense off the bounce and be a 20-point scorer, that's going to make life so much easier on one Isaiah Thomas. The Celtics only had one player score over 1,000 points last year. They didn't have the level of balance. Also, they still lack front-line physicality, in particular, to consistently grab rebounds. I like what the Celtics have done in stockpiling draft picks, how they've maneuvered their assets. I like your squad. I like Tatum. Don't be surprised if they're the number one seed in the East again.
Really? You think they'll be the number one seed in the East again?
Yeah.
Huh. I'm not so sure. I still believe in the Cavs. I really, this is how I see the Cavs thing playing out. I think there's like a 30% chance they don't trade Kyrie Irving, and this whole thing goes away, and it's like that Kobe when he requested a trade. We're like, oh, wasn't that funny? Wasn't that weird that Kyrie Irving asked for a trade this summer? We got that him and LeBron were mad at each other because now it looks just like it always has, the two of them leading the Cavs to an excellent record and all the way to the finals. Let's listen to another voicemail.
Hey, Jalen, this is Deborah calling from California. I was just wondering, why does Carmelo Anthony hold all the cards? If the Knicks try to trade him and he doesn't approve the trade, just sit him on the bench. He can watch the game from the bench, and I'm sure during the season he'll change his mind. And I heard your thing about the chugging the 40 ounces, the old English. Wow. We used to race too, but a whole 40 ounce, that's a boss move. Peace.
I mean, I love the idea that the Knicks would just sit Carmelo Anthony. Deborah should be a coach. Deborah should be a head coach. She'd be like, oh, you don't want to waive your trade clause? We'll just sit you.
Deborah, I want to pull you behind the curtain. And I've watched some of the best masterminds undermine their team. And I'm thinking about you, Larry Brown, right now. That ain't actually what you do. Give them DMPs. Here's what you do. You put him out there for 5 minutes and then take him out. So you mess up his statistics. And then when he gets upset and then he skips practice or he doesn't want to go in the game, when the coach asks him to go in the game, you suspend him. And then therefore you don't have to pay him.
Ooh.
That's actually, if you really want to spite a player, that's how you do it. It's not sitting them on the bench and giving them a free year's pay and adding a year to my career when I'm not putting miles on my legs.
I love this because if there is like a petty, manipulative way to get back at somebody, Jalen Rose has already considered it and has the strategy already in line and together. But more importantly, Deborah touched on something else I really want to discuss. We spoke about this off wax yesterday on the television program. This information came to light that you've chugged entire 40 ounces of Old English. That seems like a Herculean feat. Like I feel like all those hot dog eaters in July 4th would be like, wait, what? Like he did what? 40 ounces all at once? How did you do that? What was your strategy, and how drunk did you get afterwards?
No true strategy. Just got to be cold but not freezing. You got to be thirsty right after a summer league game at the Saint with no air condition, and you just drop 45. You walk outside and it's 90 degrees.
That's disgusting.
That's easy.
I mean, I think I would have trouble with 4 swallows of Old English. That malt liquor doesn't go down like a Bud Light does. You know what I mean? And also, like the nozzle on the 40-ounce lip is a little too thin. You know,
Hit the brakes. Hit the brakes.
I don't want to, but I guess I will.
First off, when we're talking about malt liquor, we're talking 20 years ago, number one, at least. Yep. 2, it's cultural because Bud Light don't go down well with me at all.
Oh, I love Bud Light. I can chug a Bud Light. I'll shotgun a Bud Light right now. I shotgun a Bud Light every day before I get out of bed.
One of my favorite Ice Cube stories, I'll never forget this, came back from just winning the Nationals in AAU. Driving back from Arkansas in vans with the squad, listening to KRS-One. It had just come out. Why is that? The day begins with a grin and a prayer to excuse my sins.
And a shotgun of a Bud
I can
Light.
walk anywhere I choose because everybody listened to the BDP crew, and I'll never forget getting dropped off on the block. It's time to hit the store. Walked into the store, looked up, saw my favorite actor from Boys in the Hood and NWA on the St. Ides poster.
Oh, we got a problem here?
Ice Cube.
Oh, we got a problem here?
It looked like Ramo and B Street when he saw a white train. And he was like, a white one. And I was like, I got to get a St. Ides, no doubt about it. And I caught myself chugging a St. Ides, too.
Ugh.
But the difference between a St. Ides and an OE, St. Ives was nasty and got me sick. I was throwing
That's
up.
what I'm saying. And also all the bubbles, just the carbonation alone. Like when I chug that much beer, I get this weird like spit and I spit out a bunch of just like foamy grossness. That would make me sick. I'm also like 40. I can't do that kind of thing anymore.
There you go. You thinking like old man Jacoby.
Oh, I've shotgunned a beer in the last month.
Correct.
I've shotgunned a beer in the last month. Let's be honest. Let's be real. I'm not going to lie into microphones.
There you go. There you go.
Have you ever
As you get
shotgunned a
older,
beer?
You can't go as hard.
You ever shotgun a beer or is that cultural? Do you know what shotgunning a beer is? Is that cultural?
Shotgun of it, just drink it all at once?
No.
What is it? Explain it to me.
Okay.
Maybe I've done it.
Take a can of beer, right? And then you take.
So first off, no. I don't do the can of beer. There it is. No. That's why. There it is. No.
You really? So here's what you do. Everybody always has keys on them. Let me just explain. You take a can of beer, you hold it in your hand sideways, right? You very carefully pierce the bottom of the can of beer with a key, right? So you make a little keyhole at the bottom. So now you have a hole at the bottom. And then as you turn it perpendicular to the ground, horizontal, you open it at the same time. What it creates is an airflow. So the beer quickly pours itself out of the bottom into your mouth while replacing the air from the top. And it just goes without that glug, glug, glug. It just shotguns right into your mouth. Before you even know it, you drank an entire can of beer and you're ready for another one.
That's definitely cultural because we don't need to do all of that if we really want to drink. Just open it up and drink it. And not doing the cans. You'll see me at the beach with bottles.
I like cans. The thing about cans is like, I just feel like 12 ounces is a little too small. You know what I mean? 12 ounces for me is like 4 sips. It's not great for the environment. So we have a very important update here at Jalen and Jacoby. It's the saga of the do-rag flap. Do-rag Jalen was a character we made for the show. It was a little too hot for TV. It made the podcast because the executives don't listen to the podcast. And we had a question about the do-rag. For some reason, a gentleman, I believe he's from Texas, wanted to ask me, who's never worn a do-rag, what to do with the do-rag flap. Well, we have an update. Jalen Rose explained what to do with the do-rag flap. This gentleman promised he would call back with thoughts on our thoughts, and now we have his thoughts on our thoughts.
What up, though? It's your boy Al Rao, man. I'm calling back. I see you let your boy get some airtime, so I told you I'd call back and give you the breakdown. So let me give you the actual factuals on the do-rag, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, Reg, but check it. Jalen Jacoby, under no circumstances do you wear the cape down. You tie the cape up in a knot and tuck it, my guy. So, and I said in no circumstances, there's probably 2 circumstances where you can wear the cape down. One, if you are an entertainer, more notably a rapper, or if you are a wino on the street corner and you have a 40 in your hand. All right? That's the only way you can wear your cape down. So I know you're probably thinking like, hey, I've seen a lot of people wear their cape down. You know, Memphis Bleak, Jay-Z, Silk the Shocker, Ja Rule, Cam, Killer Cam, shout out. Even Hulk Hogan and Eminem wore the cape down, right? But around the early 2000s when I was in college, I was in Indiana going to college. Early 2000s, 50 Cent put out an album. And on the album cover, he had the white do-rag on with the do-rag tucked. Ever since then, the do-rag needs to be tucked. Now, I don't wear do-rags any longer, only because I got the Stephen A. Smith with the little low fro and my hairline running to the back. But I'm still the leading do-rag expert, not only for this show, but for the universe. Holla at your boy. One yourself. We out.
I kind of love Al Rouse. You know what I mean? Next time you go on vacation, me and Al are doing the show.
There's a lot to unpack there.
There's a lot to unpack there.
Right.
I mean, he said there's only 2 circumstances in which you're allowed to wear the flap down. And again, he's a self-appointed senior do-rag analyst of this program. You're only allowed to wear the flap down when you're a wino drinking a 40 ounce or when you are a rapper in the pre-50 Cent era, I suppose. Reggie, the actual senior do-rag analyst of this program, says flap up at all times. Someone who's never worn a do-rag, never considered wearing a do-rag, never purchased a do-rag, but seen them behind the counter at many bodegas, assumed that the flap going down was the way that it was naturally worn.
Hold on. Hit the brakes.
Why do I have to hit the brakes?
Please. I've never worn a do-rag in public. I've only worn one 10 times ever in my life.
Okay.
When I wear it, it's in the house.
Okay.
So the flap is up because I don't want to fall asleep and choke myself. However,
can we stop with no? Let's hit the brakes right there. What do you think the do-rag flap is going to do? The do-rag flap is not going to choke you to death, Jalen Rose.
Hey, man, I ain't having nothing around my neck, dude, when I go to sleep.
I mean, Jalen, I don't know.
Anything can happen.
No, not anything can happen. A do-rag flap cannot kill you while you're sleeping. I promise you that. You can go to sleep, rest easy, knowing that you will not die via do-rag flap strangulation.
And the reason why I had you hit the brakes, because I have to call our do-rag expert, Reg, out on something. I was kindly wearing a do-rag on our program, and I put the flap up. Reggie told me to let it down.
Oh, see, you know what? Reggie, first of all, a couple things. Number one, we have a staff of like 10 people. Reggie's not the only person that produces this show. He gets too much credit, okay? 0 to 100, how much credit does Reggie deserve? 10%, okay? But we can't list everybody else. He's just the person that's closest to us, and he controls the soundboard, okay? Secondly,
he's sitting the closest.
Secondly, don't think that Reggie secretly did that intentionally to make you look worse. You know what I mean? I know you think he's got his best intentions.
And also, for our caller, again, we appreciate the love.
Shout out.
No doubt about it. I didn't like the inference of a rapper and a wino?
Yeah, wino. Those are the only two options that you have.
And what's wrong with 40 ounces? That's kind of where I'm going.
Yeah. When was the last time you drank a 40 ounce? Be honest, be real.
College.
Really? Oh, you need to come over to my house more often. I'll drink a novelty 40 ounce every 6 months, just for fun, just for novelty every 6 months, just to show myself I still got it. You know.
I tried to do it once or twice in the league. That malt liquor don't sit well with the stomach.
Did it ever sit well with the stomach?
Yeah, when you're younger, you more. Come on, man, you more invincible. That cat. What? Think about it. I'm in the league. I'm drinking Louis the 13th. Can't be drinking a 40 ounce.
I don't even know what Louis the 13th is. Jalen Rose, let's give the people what they want. I don't know what the people want, but I want Beyonce to buy the Rockets. Please, Beyonce, buy the Rockets. Now, she'll probably have a teeny tiny little figurehead piece of the Rockets, but there are reports from Bloomberg that she is interested in buying a piece of the Rockets. Does this make you as happy as it makes me?
It does, and I love seeing these stories happen, in particular with minority ownership in professional sports. Basketball and NFL come to mind. Also, for that matter, all professional sports. You don't see Michael Jordan's the only majority owner. And so what ends up happening, as you alluded to it, a lot of times minorities get the opportunity by being minority stakeholders. So we saw this take place with the Cavs and Usher. We saw this with Jay-Z and the Nets. You see this with the Miami Dolphins and a few individuals, I think including the Williams sisters.
Vivek Ranadive comes to mind.
Absolutely. So I would be enthusiastic about this. This would be a great look for the league. This would be a great look for the Carter family. And think about this. He's saying on 444. How about having a billionaire couple when they both have had ownership stakes in NBA teams?
And the only reason he had to drop his is because he's like, you know what, I'm gonna make more money with my agency anyway. You know, and he's like, I don't want to work with this Prokhorov guy anymore. And the Nets aren't good. I'm out. They can go 0-82. Wouldn't bother me. So I was looking at this and I was like, man, I would just love to count Beyonce as one of my bosses. You know what I mean? I would just love to be in an organizational structure in which I reported up to Beyonce Knowles. So it made me think, like, would free agents actually consider this when considering what team to play for? And then it got me thinking, Jalen Rose, like, what do free agents consider when they're going to make a move to a new franchise?
Really simple. Are we talking about professional sports?
Yes, we're talking about professional sports.
Okay, so don't let the ticker fool you. Don't let the headlines mislead you. The first thing players are considering is salary.
Okay.
Show me the money. How much am I going to get paid to run with your squad? The next thing, who I'm going to run with. Teammates.
Okay.
The third thing, who's going to be the coach? Who's going to draw up the X's and O's? The fourth thing, where are we playing? What market's happening? Can I champagne and campaign in the city?
That's what I was getting at.
And lastly, unless it's Beyonce, the owner.
So you really think that Beyonce would be the last thing that free agent would consider? They would think about the Houston strip clubs and James Harden's jersey in the rafters and the food and the taxes and all those other things first?
There have been some transcendent owners that got people to come play for their team. Dr. Buss comes to mind. George Steinbrenner comes to mind. That has happened. But when Michael Jordan purchased the Charlotte Bobcats at that time, look back at all of the media pundits and all of the fans. They're like, oh, man, all of the big-time free agents go run with MJ. Not going to be able to do it.
Yeah, and they got Dwight Howard comes to mind. Nicholas Batum, I guess. Yeah, some free agents.
So players consider what's best for them. And you hope to have a really good owner, as you mentioned.
So when you say teammates and coach, that all sort of like boils together to me is how successful is this team going to be? What is my role on this team? And can we win a championship? You put salary first, but for older players like a Chris Paul or like a KD, we've seen take a little bit of less money at a chance at a championship. Isn't that fair to say that is sometimes first?
No, that's isolated incident. We just talked about Isaiah Thomas with some slides that had a Brinks truck on them. He already getting $6 million to play basketball.
Yeah, he shows you where his priorities are with his slides. Yeah.
No question about it. He saw Steph Curry get $34 million to play basketball, and he on the senior tour. He like, I need that. So you have to consider what's best for your pockets, and those are older players who, in KD's case, was chasing a championship, and he joined the Golden State Warriors and formed a super team. And for Chris Paul, he just wanted to not run with the Clippers. That's what I'm seeing. You already said he got a Houston Rockets tattoo on his neck already.
Right there. The big Rockets tattoo. You'll see it. You'll see it in the next photo. You look for it.
No doubt.
You mentioned Steph Curry and Steph Curry's paper, and a lot of his paper comes from the Warriors, as you mentioned, got a big raise. He also makes a lot of money endorsing Under Armour. He had a very popular shoe, the Currys. I wear the Steph Curry shoes. They're very comfortable. They're good to play basketball in. Shout to Under Armour for sending me those for free. Next.
What up, though, Stone?
Next, we have this. Is the Under Armour's stock is starting to plummet a little bit. The latest Steph Currys did not sell as well as expected, so quarterly earnings went down, and the stock price has gone down for Under Armour. And a lot of what was said when KD joined the Warriors was there was this Nike versus Under Armour thing going on. How much do you think that the sales of the Steph Curry shoe and the plummeting stock of Under Armour has to do with KD joining the Warriors?
The only brand that's truly been able to maintain its level of dominance has been Nike, in particular because they have Michael Air Jeffrey Jordan endorsing their shoes for the last 30 years. He's still the guy that's selling more kicks than everybody. So with that being said, Under Armour made a big-time splash with Steph Curry as he bursted onto the scene. But that level of maintenance wasn't going to be able to stay at that level. That's just unrealistic to expect that. Now with KD joining the team, you go from being the unanimous MVP to obviously winning a championship, but your teammate is finals MVP. Ultimately, when you're not looked at as the quote-unquote best player in the game, that also has some level of effect.
I think that has something to do with it, too. I don't think it's the design of the sneaker or the look of the sneaker. I think it has a lot to do with that. If you remember 2 seasons ago, Steph Curry was breaking the three-point record. Unanimous MVP, the best player in the game, the vanguard. We've never seen this before, and that helps sell the shoes. But now he does share somewhat of the spotlight with KD, and I don't think that Nike is too upset about that. Another person that sells a lot of sneakers, LeBron James. Steph Curry was at Harrison Barnes' wedding before he went to the after party and spilled Bud Light all over his shirt. He was very famously caught on Instagram mocking LeBron James's dance while he worked out. Here's what he had to say about that. Quote, "I've been doing that dance because of him at my house at dinner. When something good happens, I pull that out because I like it and it makes me laugh and it makes me happy. Not making fun of him." Jalen Rose, 0 to 100. How much do you believe that Steph Curry was not making fun of LeBron when he did that dance?
He was making fun of him 80%.
Oh, I'm going 100%. He was definitely making fun of him.
And also, I like the way he phrased it. Because in theory, I guess he wasn't making fun of him. Making fun of somebody is teasing him. Ha, 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 nah, 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 nah. He was mocking him.
He was like, it makes me happy when I do that dance. It's like, I believe it does make you happy, but that doesn't mean you're not making fun of LeBron James.
And it's all, again, great players who have played in the NBA Finals 3 straight years. We've seen both teams, multiple players, take jabs at the other side.
Of course.
It's all good. The problem with the visual is that my teammate is over there laughing too. Like, who else in that picture? That's Kyrie? Oh, man. Like I said, your friends, your family, your mate, you could crack on them. You could talk about their warts all day, but you can't allow somebody else to do it. So when that's happening, then you truly know that Kyrie want to be out.
Of course. And also, there's somewhere in LeBron James's head that he knows when he's shirtless, wearing some tights, trying to act gangster, listening to some hardcore rap, wearing ballet tights, he knows he's opening himself up to be mocked. Like, he has to know that somewhere in his soul. But doesn't
Bobby Brown was like, he stole my look.
Now, Kobe Bryant posted a picture on Instagram. He was shirtless, he was hairless, and he captioned the picture, quote, "Objects on camera may appear larger than they do in the mirror. Ha ha ha. Okay. Give me 30 days. Hashtag challenge accepted. Hashtag Mamba thick. Hashtag Mamba beast." But Jalen, as someone who has, how do we say, expanded and retracted since his playing days, can you sympathize with Kobe Bryant and his dad bod?
I can sympathize, but here's what I want to say to everybody that got a nice chuckle. Here's a guy, for 20 years as a professional athlete, was actually paid to stay in shape. So for everybody that wants to tease, snicker, and criticize, when you get a chance, pull out a mirror and look at yourself. That's the one thing that I always felt was head-scratching, that people who aren't in shape tease other people that aren't in shape.
That will never stop me.
Yeah,
that will never stop me. See, you're a professional athlete. I was not a professional athlete. No one ever paid me to stay in shape, and I still managed to keep it somewhat together. Another thing I want, just in Kobe Bryant's defense, is he's on vacation. You know what I mean? When we're all on vacation, we're not working out every day. I think he's in Positano or something, or Portofino, somewhere in Italy, drinking the red wine, eating the pastas. You know, he also didn't take a picture of himself. Like, he was photoed by paparazzi. I love and respect the fact that he had this funny caption and posted on his Instagram. However, I do not respect the fact that he immediately deleted it. Like, if you're going to self-own yourself and self-deprecate, you have to keep the picture up. Come on, Kobe. Yeah.
I appreciate the post. Again, like I mentioned, he's retired. So you're going to go through a phase where your body gets a chance to just heal. I'm not waking up and pounding my body every single day when I'm not getting paid to be in the gym. He hanging with the wife, he hanging with the kids. And Cole, good looking on that reference to Italy. I had a great time. Appreciate that. Shout out. And so with that being said, can he live? He posted it as a challenge. Clearly, it's on his page. He did the hashtag.
Well,
he didn't show any shame.
There was a part of your post-playing career where you weren't waking up and pounding your body every day, but it did look like you were waking up and pounding milkshakes every day. How do you explain the Fat Jalen era?
I don't need to explain it. Here's the thing people have to understand. There's 24 hours in a day. Okay. And during that period of time, guess what I was focusing on?
I have no idea.
My career. So the guys that you see in the gym spending 4 or 5 hours, and then on the golf course another 5 or 6 hours, I ain't had that time. And the other thing, I was lazy. I was eating good. I was embracing it. I wanted to have a beer belly. I wanted to be fat. The only problem is I'm skinny fat. So when I'm out of shape, I'm built like a kangaroo because my stomach and my butt stick out.
Yeah, so you have kangaroo. When I get fat, I call it the bulletproof vest. It looks like I'm always wearing a bulletproof vest.
Okay, keep your eyes closed.
Okay.
I want to show you my first ever painting.
All right.
Okay. Open your eyes.
Oh, that's a lot of colors and shapes.
So be honest. What do you think?
Well, I like how if you switch to Geico, you could save hundreds of dollars on car insurance.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Here, why don't I hold your paintbrush while you call them?
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
Jalen Rose, be careful. because it is time for the Don't Get Fired topic of the day.
Oh, no.
And now, the Don't Get Fired topic of the day.
They put us on at 2 in the afternoon, and we're going to do a Don't Get Fired topic. You guys just don't know any better.
Time to talk about medicinal. The NFL has written the NFL Players Association in hopes of working out with the union a way that they could study marijuana use as a pain management tool for players. Also on Bleacher Report, they've got a quote from retired offensive lineman Evan Britton saying, quote, "The guys who consume cannabis through their football careers are going to be in much better shape coming out of them than the guys who don't." My question for you is simply, would a relaxed marijuana policy really help solve the pain medication problem in the NFL?
Logically, I say yes, based on what they're taking as an alternative. The pills and the prescriptions that they're given, they have adverse effects to your body as well. And a lot of times you don't know the current effects, let alone the long-term effects of a lot of things that you're given by the team.
Well, I've done some research into the effects of medicinal on the human body, and one thing that these cite a lot is this cannabinoid, or like CBD it's called, and it's not really psychotropic, which means it doesn't get you high, and I don't think the NFL players are exactly out here picketing and fighting for the type of marijuana that doesn't get you high. Am I wrong in assuming that NFL players would like a relaxed marijuana policy because they want to get high?
I think it's important to try to get to a position where you're not addicted to the pills or the prescriptions that you're getting from teams. So therefore, what you just described so eloquently becomes the alternative. Now, if you could get high also, that's great.
That's kind of what I feel like is really happening here. But we'll just let it play out, and we'll just kind of hush-hush about it and not get fired and move on. And when you said I described it eloquently, I think I said cannabinoids wrong. Anyway. Allen Iverson has apologized to Ice Cube. We have chronicled seemingly every day how he was absent from Dallas. Perhaps he was in Chicago at a casino. Who knows where he was? And we still don't know where he was, because here is his apology. Quote, "First and foremost, I apologize to Ice Cube and my Big Three family, my fans, and everyone disappointed by my absence in Dallas this past weekend. I've spoken with Ice Cube directly, finally, regarding the details of my absence. I will do my best to make up for this moving forward on the Big Three tour." Jalen, did he omit anything in his apology?
The thing I appreciate the most about the apology, he never said where he was going.
He had no excuse. There was no like, oh, I had this family emergency or I had to do this thing. It was just like, oh, my bad, I wasn't there. And I also love that he's like, I have spoken with Ice Cube directly. Like, Alan, it is Wednesday, and you're just releasing this statement about speaking with Ice Cube? I'm sure that he called you, 35 times in the last 3 days.
Here's what got me thinking.
Oh,
the unique thing about the Big Three is that you just mentioned their owner's name is O'Shea Jackson. We call him Ice Cube. So I'm just going to imagine if all of a sudden he wanted to go NWA gangster on AI for not showing up in Dallas.
I don't think he does.
Boy and boys in the hood.
I think that Ice Cube needs Allen Iverson more than Allen Iverson needs the Big Three. Just throwing that out there.
Hit the brakes.
Just throwing that out there. Just throwing that out there.
Hit the brakes.
I don't want to hit the brakes, but I will.
Allen Iverson probably has scored 6 points in 27 minutes. The story that you just said can't be accurate.
Allen Iverson, whether he's playing or not playing, puts behinds in the seats, especially for the Big Three. I predict the Big Three will add more and more bigger names. I think I'm bullish on the Big Three. I think that's right. I don't have any stocks. I'm bullish on the Big Three. Like, I think the Big Three will grow and be a real thing that entertains us all summer long for years to come. But right now, you need Allen Iverson. You do.
I was fortunate enough. Me and wifey went to the opening game in Brooklyn.
Oh.
Okay? And the stands were full. People were excited about the product. I had a really good time. LL Cool J was there. James Harden was there. Clearly, people were having an amazing time. And I didn't see Allen Iverson.
Next, we have this. There's a wax figure that has been released of Tom Brady. It looks nothing like Tom Brady. It makes me think that maybe the wax figure was based on that courtroom sketch during Deflategate. However, we have also looked at a wax figure of Beyonce that looks nothing like Beyonce recently. Jalen, which is worse, the Tom Brady or the Beyonce wax figure rendition?
The Beyonce. Because she represents perfection. You can't get that wrong.
Yeah, they got it so wrong. It looks like Shakira, I think. Like, I don't even know what it is.
Her race isn't correct.
Yeah, they got a lot wrong. At least Tom Brady looks like a white guy. You know what I mean? Like, it's as simple as that. Let's move on before we get fired for real. Eastern Carolina University did something so cool. They sent out their scholarships letters, and they printed them on a pirate scroll. I won't do a pirate joke, but I really want to. Eastern Carolina University did this. It was such a good project. I loved it so much. However, they spelled a word wrong, a very important word in a scholarship letter. Jalen Rose, this is a very safe space. I tried to spell this word correctly twice, and I was wrong twice. So I'm now going to put you on the spot. Are you ready? Eastern Carolina got this word wrong on their scholarship letter. Jalen Rose, can you spell scholarship?
Oh, man.
I got it wrong twice. So you're in a safe space, man. I'm looking right at the camera saying, I got this wrong with 2 tries.
S-C-H. I don't want to play this game anymore.
All right. Not everything in life is yes or no or black and white or binary. There's a lot of gray
spinning from that last segment.
Area.
Wow.
There's a lot of gray area, and we explore that gray area in a segment called 0 to 100. Jalen Rose. Diana Rossini has the scoop. She is reporting, along with ESPN, that both John Harbaugh and general manager of the Ravens, Ozzie Newsome, support the signing of Colin Kaepernick. Yet, owner Steve Bisciotti is holding back the signing of Kaepernick. 0 to 100. What do you think the chances are that the Ravens eventually sign Colin Kaepernick? Thinking about it.
Did they actually do it?
Yes, sir. That's the question.
50.
50%. Oh, wow. That's low. What do you think this is about?
I think this is about his social stance, and people are addressing it almost like it's a criminal one, which it isn't. And I didn't appreciate, and I thought it was really lame, that the owner, for public consumption, was actually asking the fans for their feedback and their opinion.
Ridiculous. He didn't ask the fans about David Olsen coming to camp.
But then he also said, pray for us. I just thought that was really weak.
I agree. Moving on. Here's what Paul Milsap Rocky had to say about his new team, the Denver Nuggets.
And I think that, especially with the younger guys that we have now in Denver, the growth, is unbelievable. The sky is the limit. I think this team can be a lot better than that team. That was a 60-win team. So,
how much do you think Milsap Rocky really believes that this Denver Nuggets team can be better than the 60-win Hawks team? 0 to 100.
12.
I think it might even be lower.
When you just got new bread and they bring you in, you have a press conference, you got to stick out your chest.
Oh, yeah. Oh, 60 wins in the Western Conference? 60 wins in the Western Conference? That's what you guys were missing. I know you didn't make the playoffs last year, but this year we're definitely going to win 60 games and challenge the Golden State Warriors championship, right?
And also, it's like 82-game schedule, 50 of those games are against Western Conference competition. Not going to be able to do it.
Not even close. But I always respect the overconfidence that the offseason brings. I love it. You and David Beckham have a lot in common. You're not both just extremely handsome human beings.
Thank you.
But you also both spoil really popular Sunday evening television programs. You spoiled an episode of Power 2 weeks ago right here on this very show, and David Beckham spoiled part of Game of Thrones for his UK followers this Sunday. 0 to 100. How much are people oversensitive about spoilers?
100.
Like, just watch the show. Just watch the show. It's not going to ruin the experience because you know what happens.
The last time I checked, before albums come out, there's snippets.
Mm-hmm.
Before a movie comes out,
there's a trailer. Yeah, I know what happens at the end of Crying Game. It's all good. I'm still going to watch it.
So I don't understand the overreaction to it. I really don't.
Jalen Rose, can you explain the plot to the Crying Game?
Yeah, sure. Feelings really got hurt and just cry all day.
Exactly. Moving on. I know you have a policy. You do not like portrait tattoos on people of other living people. However, you might make an exception. Titans receiver Rashard Matthews got a tattoo of Barack and Michelle Obama on his leg. I know you don't like this sort of thing, but 0 to 100, how much do you support this tattoo of Barack and Michelle Obama?
As somebody that also has tattoos, I can't be the person that tells someone else what to get on their body.
Sure.
But as you mentioned, it's just always head scratching. The portrait thing of somebody that doesn't love you. And so I support it personally because you are basically asking me, is this something I would do? 5?
5 out of 100?
Yes.
I just don't like, if you look at the tattoo, he's got Michelle kind of popping out from behind Barry. And here's the thing, is that's not how that relationship works. They're shoulder to shoulder. That's a shoulder to shoulder relationship, okay? So as much as I support that tattoo, I would just do a little remix if it was going to go on my body. We have some news. Not too many free agents signing nowadays, but Ian Clark has agreed to a 1-year deal with the Pelicans. 0 to 100. How do you feel about his fit with the Pelicans?
Look at the Pelicans fly. I like his fit. I'll say 70.
Not bad, right? They need someone that can shoot. The one thing that the Pelicans lack is shooting. They got plenty of big men. They lack a little bit of shooting. I think Ian Clark could really help there. Also, 0 to 100, how much do you think he misses playing with the Warriors?
He got his ring. He got his opportunity. I ain't going to get a lot of minutes playing behind the Splash Brothers.
Really?
They just re-signed Livingston. I'm happy to bounce because now it's his time to start earning his keep in the league and show that he can be around for a really long time.
Oh, see, I would never want to leave a team like the Warriors. I'll take a pay cut. I'll take whatever. You don't even have to put me on the roster. You can give me a G League contract. I want that ring at the end of the year, and the Warriors have the best chance to get a ring.
Let me tell you a secret, and that's one of the biggest and most phony misconceptions that I hear fans say.
What's that?
Your team can go undefeated and win the championship. The roster's still going to have changes.
I know, but I would do whatever I can if I was Ian Clark to stay with the Warriors. That's all. That's all. Yep. Finally.
Play for free?
We have a report that Kyrie Irving trade to the Suns is imminent. I don't really believe it. However, in a more macro sense, 0 to 100, how much are you tiring of this Kyrie Irving trade news?
I'm not tired of it because he's a terrific player. He said he wanted to be moved. He won a championship with a Cavs team that has been to the finals for 3 straight seasons. He's shown that he can be a dynamic offensive force. If you put him in the backcourt with Devin Booker, who had 70 points in the NBA game last year against a number 1 seeded Boston Celtics team, that's explosive.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would be interested to see, A, if he's moved, B, if he's able to land there.
So there's the Suns we've talked about, the Timberwolves we've talked about, the Knicks we've talked about, staying with the Cavs we've talked about, going to the Pelicans we've talked about, the Spurs we've talked about. It seems like we've linked Kyrie Irving with a large percentage of NBA teams. And me personally, I have a little bit of fatigue about these rumors. I just want this something to happen or something to not happen so we can kind of just stop talking about it every single day.
Something is happening.
Well, he's dancing with Steph Curry.
You just don't know about it. GMs are on the phone trying to make the move. And he doesn't have a no trade clause. So he's not necessarily in control of his own destiny for the next 2 seasons. So it's unlikely that we won't talk about it until it actually takes place, and rightfully so. He's a really talented player.
How much do you think the Cavs front office runs by potential Kyrie Irving trades LeBron James?
I don't think they do as much as people realize. Here's what ends up happening in these dynamics. Your best player, it's one thing if he's an all-star. It's another thing if he's a superstar. It's something else if he's an icon. You got to make sure that you're building a roster around your best guy. And you know what you do? Put 14 guys around him that can supplement his weaknesses and make him get to his goals and make your organization get to their goals. So with that being said, they should keep him on the loop about what they're doing, but they're not going to ask him yes or no should they make a move. If that was the case, he would have never left for Miami. He would have felt like he could have built the team there. Did they change the owner since he left and came back?
No, they did not, sir.
Okay.
Jalen Rose, it's time to give the people what they want. Every Wednesday is celebrate the more responsible, more mature, more intelligent, and all-around superior gender of our species, the women, on Women Crush Wednesday. So we will do that once again today. We're going to open up our Twitter feed, go into our subreddit, and go into our voicemails. If you call 985-80-JALEN and leave us a voicemail, we'll play it on the show. And if you leave a voicemail and you are a female, we will play it on Women Crush Wednesday like this.
Hey, Jalen and Jacoby. It's Carolyn from Cincinnati. Just wondering if you think Chris Paul gets out of the second round before LeBron James wins a fourth ring. Thanks. Bye.
That is a very nice question.
I like
Chris Paul has never been to the conference finals.
No.
LeBron ain't getting the fourth ring while the Golden State Warriors looking like they looking. No. So I would have to say CP3 possibly can make it to the conference finals with Houston, depending on their matchups in the playoffs.
Yeah, depending on their seeding. If they end up at the third seed and the Warriors are the top seed, they might not. But I do think that these Rockets will be in the conference finals. I just feel it. I think these Rockets can really challenge the Warriors, and part of me just kind of wants them to because the Warriors are so good. They need some competition. But I really appreciate the question, Caroline, and shout out to Cincinnati. Underrated city. Cincinnati, underrated, fun city out there. Shout out to everybody in Cincinnati.
The Natty.
We're going to now go to our Twitter feed. Don't forget to follow at Jalen and Jacoby. This is from a Laker fan, Laker lover for life. She wants to know, will the Lakers be the super team after 2018 free agency?
No.
She wants the Banana Boat Boys to come to Los Angeles. You know, LeBron's got his eye on the Lakers. Lonzo Ball is there. Come on, Chris Paul's a free agent. He almost got traded to the Lakers. Just help this Laker lover out, Jalen. Can they be a super team?
I'm going to have to go on my phone for this one. Rob Pelinka and Magic Johnson are going to turn around your Lakers. Yep. And I will not deal with any LeVar Ball slander. That's right. I said it.
Oh, I'll slander LeVar Ball, but we're going to have to do that tomorrow. When we come back, Jalen and Jacoby on tomorrow at 2 p.m. on ESPN2.